You're Locked On Wild, your daily podcast on the Minnesota Wild, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome into another live Locked On Wild. We are hanging out here tonight with what we are going to call What the Hell Are You Smoking? As Denny is here to take us through a lot of Minnesota Wild discussion. We have a lot to talk about here tonight, and so we appreciate everybody tuning in here this evening. If you've got any questions that you'd like either myself or Denny to answer, just throw them in the comments. I'll collect them as the show rolls on. But a man who needs no introduction, Denny, the captain of the comment section on YouTube, and a wealth of hockey knowledge here in the state of Minnesota. Denny, I'm going to turn it over to you. We've got a lot we're covering tonight, the top six, more on the Minnesota mess. But you've got a few more items from your hockey background in general, I think, that we would like to start with here tonight.
All right. Well, to begin with, I just want to apologize to everybody for the last show. I had a guest come in, and when I told her to shut up, all she did was talk really quiet, so I couldn't understand what the hell she's saying, and it got me very distracted. I lost my train of thought several times over the show. So that being said, here we go. A little bit more about me. In 1981, I started as a regular with Sid Hartman. I don't know if any of you know who Sid Hartman is, but, he was a national hero from Star and Tribune. He had a radio show that started at 10 o'clock and went to noon. And, of course, I was a regular guest. And he used to get so mad at me, sometimes he'd hang up on me. Yeah. But that's how I got in to start calling shows. And then, of course, with Beyond the Pond and Fanline, I was there for their very first show and hit them all. And now here I am. And I want to thank Seth because, for all you that don't know, when you get my age and you lose all your friends, you have no direction. There's nothing to get up for. And because of Seth, I have a newfound lease on life, and I'm loving it. This show means a lot to me, and helping Seth get going means a lot to me. So I just want to thank you, Seth. My life's back on track, as it should.
It is my pleasure to have you on to just go through kind of what we see with this Minnesota Wild team, because I can sit on a microphone and talk about what I see all the time, but it really, what separates the show is giving listeners, giving those that have been watching hockey for as long as you have, Denny, giving you guys opportunities to talk about what you see. That's what separates things. And so I'm happy to do these episodes to allow you the opportunity to just talk about what needs to be fixed, because there's a lot of it.
Well, starting with the top six, the Minnesota mess continues, and you have to ask yourself, why did Hines play Mojo after the first 18 games? He had 1 goal and 2 assists for 3 points. How can he possibly be a top six player on the Wild with that kind of production? Billy had to be telling him that he had to play him. That's the only thing I can think of. Either that, he's blackmailing him or something. I don't know. But, and as you know, the rest of the year was terrible. And, this all has to do right now with Mr. Leopold. The puck stops with you. We want answers as fans. What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Billy has, now he's talking about a 4-year deal with Middleton. That's too long. 2 years would be a good one. Maybe 3, but not 4. And I suppose does he have that no trade clause in there too?
Haven't. So it hasn't been announced as of yet. Michael Russo was in the latest worst seats of the House, alluding to the fact that that was likely what the deal was going to be. And I just by process of elimination would assume that it would include some trade protection as well, because pretty much every other deal of that size has.
Yeah, I just I don't get it. Billy's on the hot seat. And the only thing that's saving his butt right now is Judd Brackett, because his picks have been, they're starting to pay off. And that's the only saving grace he's got, because our team's a year older, a year slower. And, when you look at Foligno, all those stupid penalties, well, he's 2 steps behind the plate. He has to hold. So, it's I'm just so disappointed. The good news is, and I know I've told you guys this before, but I really think Gunsel's coming home. His team made him another offer, which he turned down, and now they're trying to get a pick for him to get negotiating rights with them. So, it's what, week and a half away for the contract up.
July
I'll bet
1.
you. Yeah, July 1. I would bet Gunsel's already talked to Billy about going home. If that happens, that solves a lot of our problems. Man, talking about Mojo and how everybody's giving Rossi a B for the year, think about this for a second. Everybody here that watches this show knows hockey pretty much. Now, when you got a winger that only takes 1 shot per game for 23 games, no shots for 20 games, what does Rossi do? He goes right to the net. He plays hard. But when your wingers aren't shooting the puck, he's got nothing to, he's hung out to dry by himself. And that's where our esteemed owner, the Minnesota Wild, has to step up to the plate and give us some answers. We fill the building every game. And the way things are going, I think you could see that start to deteriorate. Actually, I hope so, because when they lose money, that's when things change. As Travis has brought up.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's really, for a lot of these owners, that's really the only bottom line that matters, is the money that is pulled in. And so until that gets impacted, a lot of times you don't see a ton in the way of change.
And a lot of people say that Leopold doesn't want to. No, Leopold spends the money to win. He just has made some unfortunate choices in picking his GMs and coaches. But I believe he wants to win just as much as we do. So, you have an open invitation, Mr. Leopold, to come on the show and give us some answers. It would be nice. Now, I know it'd be a first for you, but you know what? You have rabid fans right here, the faithful. I've been watching hockey for 62 years, and I've been from Minnesota North Star fan to when the Wild started. And it'd be nice to get it, because Billy and Hines both, Hines said he's playing the right way. That's the only answer he ever gave on Mojo. What did he play right to keep him there? It just bothers me. And then Billy, he just brushed it off. He never said anything.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to get some answers, Mr. Leopold.
In the meantime, Denny, I've got some Marcus Johansson stats that I think will further outline this problem.
Okay.
Although I think they might I think they might cause some people listening to get up from their computers and have to go take a break. Yes.
There's not much there.
Listen to this. So, Marcus Johansson, in the final 29 games of the season that he played, and that was from February 7th on. February 7th is notable because that is when Kirill Kaprizov, Matt Boldy, and Joel Eriksson were first put together as a pairing. Like they played sparingly earlier in the season, but that was the first consistent time that they were put together as a pairing.
Yep, when they put them together for good.
In the 29 games after that happened, Marcus Johansson had 3 goals, 3 assists, and 6 points. That was so 6 points in 29 games. That
Huge.
was fewer points than Jake Middleton, Declan Chisholm, Jonas Brodin, and Brock Faber. In addition to the guys that you would expect to be scoring, like Ryan Hartman, Matt Zuccarello, Eriksson Ek, Boldy, Kaprizov, and Rossi. So those 4 players in front of Johansson, there's one thing that they all have in common, and I can't quite put. Oh wait, they're defensemen. He was outscored by 4 defensemen in the final 30 games of the season, and he had 1 more point than John Merrill and Zach Bogosian each.
Yeah, that's really saying a lot.
And that's a guy that's playing second line minutes up until
Actually, just under 17 minutes a game. 16:53, I think, is what his numbers were. I don't. Somebody has to give us fans an answer. And Mr. Leopold, you're the president. Come on, step up to the plate. Well, enough of that. It just pisses me off. Because that's a big reason why we lost, why we didn't make it to the playoffs. I mean, when you have one line, that ain't going to work.
Well, and the other one too, here's another top 6 related stat for you. This deals with Matt Zuccarello. Zuccarello had 63 points this season. 33 of those came on the power play.
Yep.
So he had 30 even strength points, 7 even strength goals the entire rest of the season. And his stats as well, after February 7th, he had 4 goals. He did have 20 assists. So he at least, from a points perspective, got close to a point per game down the stretch. But still, like, his production was largely tied to Kirill.
Yep. Yep. And now he's a year older and a year slower. And he should probably be on the 4th line now with Hartman. That would be a pretty good mix because Hartman doesn't have any speed either. So it's a good mix there. And who you put on, if there's one thing I would do, we can only get one more buyout for the year. Freddie Gaudreau, he's got to go.
Yeah, I would rather, if we were going to use that final buyout slot, it makes sense to use one to get term off. Like, Marcus Johansson has 1 year left, and I mean, you could use it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, God bless him, but Freddie Gaudreau, when it got to time for John Hines to pick his face-off center and he picked Joel Eriksson Ek, there just isn't a ton for Freddie Gaudreau to do.
Well, if you remember, he got a chance to do a shoot. The previous year, he was really good in the shootouts.
Mm-hmm.
His skills have diminished so bad that when he got to do he didn't even shoot the puck. I don't know if you remember that game, but he didn't even shoot the puck.
I remember that. It was against St. Louis. And so Jordan Binnington is standing in the net.
Yeah.
And Freddie slides. He slides to the right, and he gets parallel to the crease and tries to like chip it. And I don't know if he was trying to do like a Kaprizov move where he banks it in off of Binnington's back, but it sailed through the crease, and it's like, what was that?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Goudreau's got to go. Even though it's $8 million, it's only $2 million a year.
Yeah,
it's not a big hit.
And you can look at it too, like it would be the same hit for Johansson. It's just you're getting that term off the books, because there's 4 more years, I think, of Goudreau.
Yeah,
2.1. Yeah, 4 more years.
Well, I'm going to make a prediction here.
Okay.
Mojo's going to play real hockey this year. It's his contract year, and of course, if he plays like he did last year, there's nobody going to sign him. When you look him at the World Championships, he was a beast. What happened to that player?
I have no idea. I guess, and I say this, and I'm going to kind of laugh, but it just further underscores like just what we saw this past year. I guess on the Johansson front, it really can't get any worse.
No. And if he's on the second line, boy, there's going to be a lot of talk back on that one, because he really deserves to be on the fourth line if he played. I'd bench him and have him doing Herbies every practice for 2 hours until he says trade me.
Well,
I would.
That might make something happen in that regard. We've got a few questions already, Denny, about the top 6, and so I'm gonna put them on screen here. We'll talk about them a little bit, and because we've got a question about Patrick Laine. We've got a potential look for the second and the third line, as well as a little bit about Jake Gensel as well. So let's just start with Ace here, who says, I would be in favor to make lots of moves and take a run at Sam Reinhart for the second line. He would be a perfect fit for the next 5 years. We can't do this, so this is just Ace dreaming. Look, if we had the ability to make something like that happen, that's the kind of move you should be trying to make. Well,
there you go. But he's going to be probably a $10 million player in his next contract.
Yeah.
And I think he stays in Florida, to tell you the truth. And he had a terrific season.
That's one that Florida's going to do whatever they need to do to keep him. He's too important to what they're doing. But hey, if there was a way to make it happen, I'd be right there to do it. Let's go to Wild Crush, who said Gensel would be a nice get. I've heard rumors of Laine from the Blue Jackets, so let's squash the Laine rumors.
Well, I can tell you this about Patrick Laine. He's been a cancer in any locker room for any hockey team he's ever played. Nobody likes him. It's all about him. He's injured a lot, and I would pass on, period.
I view this, Denny, as pretty similar to the Pierre-Luc Dubois situation.
Yep, same thing.
And I remember looking at Pierre-Luc Dubois at the point that he was available and saying, oh man, that'd be a guy that the Wild should try to go get. And look how that worked out.
Yeah, LA is not happy with that trade.
They were even looking at the potential of buying him out 1 year into his extension.
Yep, that still could happen. But he's, for whatever reason, he's just not playing well.
Yeah.
A lot of times, and I was going to bring this up in another show, but I'll bring it up right now. To me, a good coach looks at his players and devises a system that brings out the best of his players. Not, this is how we're going to do it, and if you can't do it, you're out of here. Like Dino. which reminds me, in the last show, I had a comment about Dino was a winner. Well, let me ask you this. I forget your name, and thanks for responding, but we won the first game because Gus stole it, right? So what's Dino do? He sits him for the next game and puts in, Flower, and he's not at the top of the books in anything. He's had his time. He should be retired. He's at the bottom of the league in save percentage, goal, all the stuff. Why would you sit Gus when he just stole the game? That's kind of Coach Dino.
Well, and I remember the discussion around that being, well, this is how we've done it all year, so we're going to continue to do it. And it's like, folks, this is the postseason, though. Like, you have to. I'm not saying abandon your plan completely, but what did Craig Berube do? And what did Pete DeBoer do this past postseason? They both fell down 2-1, and they made adjustments. And the Wild didn't win a single game the rest of either series.
And why was that? Because they made no adjustments to counter it. Good old Dino. All right, what's next?
So let's go to Trav, because he. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh, 1 second. Okay. So Trav said the reason I would trade for Gensel and not wait until unrestricted free agency is to get rid of some of our current cap, and so he follows it up with Spurgeon and a first for Gensel and a fifth. Would you?
Why would you do that to get him for free? You can make cap space other ways. We don't have to give nothing. He's a free agent July 1st. I'm telling you right now, you heard it from me a couple months ago. Gunsel's coming home. He's a Minnesota boy. He's a top 10 winger in the league. Boy, he solves a lot of our issues right up front. You just wait and see. I'll be famous.
If you add that type of scoring to your top six, then all of a sudden you've got 2 legitimate scoring lines.
Now we got 3 lines instead of 1.
Yeah, and now you can so this is the ripple effect of this. So you put a guy who legitimately can play in that type of a spot, and it slots everybody else down where they naturally fit in the lineup.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference because we really need right now 6 players. And unfortunately, we can't do it because the no trade clauses and Billy's boys are taking it easy. What can you do? And that's why they're trading Gus, because that's his only move. I read today that Detroit is very interested in Gus. They need a goalie. And with the 3.75 cap hit, that's very doable.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't looked at what they give up, but that's the rumor in Detroit.
Well, let's look at what I've got it up on Cap Friendly. So let me just look at ick. Here is Detroit's current goalie situation. They've got Ville Husso in the final year of his deal. They've got Alex Lyon in the final year of his deal, and then they have James Reimer, who's an unrestricted free agent.
Yeah, they need a goalie.
They need a goalie bad. Holy cow. That is... Oof.
Well, I can see L.A., New Jersey, Detroit, probably Calgary, San Jose. There's a lot of teams that need a number 1 goalie. And regardless if he had a down year or not, Gus wasn't used to the rigor. His stamina is what left him, I guess.
Yeah.
And his workout program wasn't designed for what it should be. So you know he's going to address that. I mean, his stock went way up in the world. I mean, he looked phenomenal, other than the last game. I'm going to miss him because
we've got. I'm going to get to a comment from Amanda about the goalie situation, but Trav has he's got a good follow up to the moving Spurgeon talk. He said the point would be to try to get rid of the cap hits. So if you sign Gensel for, say, $9 million, in reality, you're paying 1.5.
Yep.
So just trying to make the cap work that way. Now, it could be that it works out if Spurgeon starts the year on long-term injured reserve, then you've got that cap hit free. You think he's going to be good to go? Okay.
Spurgeon is ready to go. You know, I told you when the operations happened, I asked my doctor about his operations. He said they're no big deal today. So you got a brand new Spurgeon now.
Okay.
And regardless of what everybody thinks about him, he's always been a top 20 defenseman in the league. 2 years ago, he was number 2 behind McCarr analytically. Yeah, he's a little undersized, but what he brings to the table, he gets his sticks in the lane, he closes the gaps, and you really feel his presence when it's not there on the penalty kill. That's where you really see how he shines. At least that's what I think.
Let's go to Amanda.
Okay.
So I don't understand why we are thinking about moving Gus as who is coming in after Fleury moves on. This is a great point, because this is kind of why I talked about it might not be a bad idea to draft a goalie this year, not in the first round, obviously, but at some point in the draft, because you get rid of Gus, Fleury retires after this season, all of a sudden your goalie room goes to it's Jesper and that's it.
Well, the Wild did pick up a couple of goalies over in Europe that played pretty good. And I haven't seen them play, so I'm really not going to comment on it. But, you know, drafting a goalie is never a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I think the one kid was named Sam Levi, I think is the one. It's I mean, he looked great in the World Championship, so I'm definitely intrigued by what he can bring. But you know, this is another one of these overall themes for the season is you just have to make sure that you have backup plans. And if anything happens to Jesper, he would probably be your backup plan, but then what's your backup plan after that?
I know. I would never trade Gus, but I know that's what Bill is going to do because that's his only move. With all the no trade clauses, he doesn't have any choice.
Yeah.
You know, and that's on Billy. His seat is really warm.
That's one of those where on a Friday night, I've done this. You make a pizza and you forget to turn off the oven, and all of a sudden you go back into the kitchen and you're like, ooh, it's warm in here.
You know, and one thing about Flower, he's easily replaceable. I mean, he's at the bottom of the league.
Yeah.
In all analytics. He's terrible now. If I was a bet man, every time he played, I'd bet against the Wild. That's how bad he is.
Fleury is capable of a stretch or two here where he can kind of elevate, but that's not what he does for the course of the season. Like I think this past season, he had maybe 2 stretches of starts like stacked together where he performed well, but he's just, regardless, he's not a guy that's going to give you more than like 30 starts.
Lucky if he gets 30, but you know, Flower, his game this last year is the best he's played in a couple of years, to be honest, and it still wasn't that good.
I found a new feature here with the comments that I can star them to save them, which is fantastic for holding questions. Let's go to this from Jeremy. Spurge is going to be a second or third pairing defenseman. Brodin and Faber are the best pairing right now for the Wild. So if you slot it up that way, you're going probably Brodin, Faber is your top pairing, and then Spurgeon and probably Middleton as your second.
Let me think about that for a second.
Okay, we can come back to it.
Say, ask Jeremy, do you live in my building? Somebody told me that that you live in my building.
We'll see how he responds. Amanda's got a follow-up. Fleury's also super emotional, gets in his own head, and allows that to impact the rest of his performance during the game. Which
he's always been like that.
Yeah.
He's a very emotional player. I mean, sometimes it's good, sometimes it doesn't, but he's old, he's slow, he has, he's done. I hate to say it, he had a hell of a career, but I wouldn't want him on my team.
Jeremy's in Iowa.
No. Okay.
What else do we have here? Let's talk about. All right. Glenn has a suggestion for line combos.
Okay.
So Glenn says second line. Now this is assuming that Gensel does not sign here. Rossi, Ogren, Height as your second line. And then Marat, Ryan Hartman, and Zuccarello as your third.
Yeah, that's doable. I like putting Ogren and Height up in the second with Rossi because, man, they'd be flying. That'd be all shooters and they got the wheels.
I'm really excited to see what Riley Height does because from what I have seen, the steam it's starting to become more than just he's going to play his 9 games and that's going to be it. There's some legit steam that he's going to be with the team past the 9 games.
I think he makes the team.
I'd love
what I've watched on him. The biggest thing about a rookie is the two-way game, and he's got that already. And when you got the two-way figured out at his age, man, I'm looking forward to watching him.
Yeah, he's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, but I like line combinations.
Good work on those, Glenn. We give him the stamp of approval.
There you go.
Let's go to one more. Let's talk about Adam Beckman a little bit. Jeremy suggesting Beckman with Zuccarello and Rossi, but I feel like there's going to be a decision made on Adam Beckman during this offseason that is going to likely be him being traded somewhere.
I think he's asked for it. He may not have said it yet, but the Wild never gave him a chance. When you put him on the fourth line playing 7 minutes a game, you don't get to show your wares. He should have been up in Mojo's spot for at least 20 games. So you got a good idea what you got. You never got the chance. And the thing about Hines did the same thing to Fiala. That's why he got fired in Nashville. We traded Granlund to get Fiala, and look what happened. He got a chance to play, and boom. And now he's doing the same thing with Beckman. Got to give a player a chance, and not fourth line. He should have been on the second line.
Yeah. See, this is so I want to expand on this a little bit because this is my general thoughts on prospects, because I know one of the big kind of other side of the coins for Beckman was he never showed anything that would warrant getting a chance in the top 6. And I'm going to push back on that, because my thought is you have to try guys in those spots first, because if they're capable of more than a 4th line role, you're not going to know that by playing them 7 minutes a night and having them be on kind of a change of pace, checking energy kind of a line.
Well, old school hockey used to be you had to prove your way to go up the line. But that's not how the game is played today. And I totally agree with him. I mean, giving him 4th line 7 minutes, that's an injustice for Beckman.
Like, it's
just because he never got to show it.
Yeah, it's frustrating because, like, Jeremy's he's just spitting fire here. He said 51 games with a significant injury in Iowa, and he had 19 goals and 33 points.
Well,
sounds like production to me.
Yeah, and Iowa had a lot of injuries. And then plus they got a coach that doesn't know what the hell he's doing down there. We had the top 5 rated prospect pool, especially with our defense, and he gave no guidance. I mean, the Iowa Wild are a mess. And that's all because Billy's boys, the old school club. Yeah, I'm going to keep harping on it because it's the truth. McLean didn't do anything when he was up here. I don't know how he got that position.
Perfect spot to throw Brian's comment in here. Brian is listening tonight. We appreciate you joining, Brian. A good coach is a good psychologist. Every player reacts to different messaging. Some players play well with fear. Some just need a pat on the back in order to get the best performance.
So what's the question?
Well, that was just more of a comment. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, that's true. When you're a coach, you're dealing with all these different personalities, and you just got to figure out what makes them tick.
I threw out on today's episode a thought that maybe the Wild should try to look for a college coach who has won at the collegiate level that's maybe looking to make the jump. Like I saw the news that the Northern Michigan coach left Northern Michigan for an NHL job, and I wonder if that would be a better way to handle the Iowa situation, is somebody who has handled college athletes in a successful manner, makes the next jump up to the AHL, but brings a winning pedigree with them.
Right now, I think the coach you get is Todd Nelson from the Hershey Bears, who's playing for the championship for I forget Columbus, Washington is the farm team.
I think it's the Washington farm team.
Yep. He's been a winner wherever he goes. He's outstanding coach. I'd give him a shot. As far as I forget his name. He was North Dakota, and he went to Philly. Didn't do that well, but they had a lot of injuries, and they didn't have much of a team, so he didn't last long. But I don't see nothing wrong with college coaches. They're dealing with the kids already.
Glenn brings up a great idea. The Denver coach was hotly recruited this cycle for NHL jobs. He ended up staying in Denver, but there's a guy who has brought Denver to he brought him to the Frozen Four. Just a winning pedigree. Trav gives his endorsement. That would be the kind of thing I feel like you should look to do, is to bring a winning pedigree in to your AHL team and further that throughout the rest of the organization.
Yep, I agree. I'd give him a shot. The NHL just keeps retreading old culture.
Yeah.
see why. They didn't do any good here. What makes them think they're going to do better? You know, Hines, I thought, might have changed his ways. When he got fired in Nashville, then he got fired in New Jersey. He hasn't changed a bit. He doesn't like the rookies. He won't play them. And there you go.
Brian says Sandlin at UMD, 3 national titles, several NHL players. See, I think we're onto a little something here. Is like, get somebody like that in your organization and allow them to help kind of build from the AHL level up to the top.
Well, if I was running the Wild, first thing I'd do is try to nab a couple coaches from Colorado and a couple from Tampa Bay and put the organization together, because they have winning pedigrees. Colorado is just, they're phenomenal at what they do.
Ooh. Hoptics has joined the show, and he's got a good one.
Oh, boy.
If the Wild offered you the assistant coaching job, what would you do?
Well, I certainly changed the lineups. Herbie's would be a standard formation for people that want to play on the game. They're going to play in practice.
That's been another thing that is interesting throughout the year. Is it just, and I think it was to the point that it even got written about. I can't remember if it was Russo or Joe Smith, about just how little the Wild have practiced over the last couple of seasons. And it's like, you can't really, I don't think, get better on special teams unless you practice them.
Well, there are statistics that show playing less is actually better for the players.
Yeah.
But how do you improve your game if you're not practicing? I would be practicing. But as far as taking an assistant coaching job, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
We're glad to have you in here, Hoptics, by the way. I know Hoptics has been kind of he's been on the forefront of the, like, other side of the more optimistic side of the coin. And we have had discussions during postcasts quite a bit. And honestly, I'm glad, even though I may not necessarily agree with some of those opinions, it's important to have that side of the coin in these live shows too. So I'm glad Hoptics is here, because he's got some good.
What you saying?
He's got another great question. For the center lineup next year, is Hartman going to be fourth line? Because Hoptics goes Eck first, Rossi second, and who's Nadinov on the third line?
That's where I got him projected, fourth line center.
Wild Crush. Wild Crush, I could never forget about you also being on the side of positivity. We're glad to have you guys in here.
Yeah.
Even though I may not always tread to that side of the aisle myself, you just got to have both sides in here to make it a full conversation. So let's talk about the centers. So Eck won. Rossi, if he's here, we'll talk about that in a second.
He's not getting it.
I hope not. Then you got Murat as your third, and depending on what happens, I mean, you could, depending on if he's still here, probably. Well, it depends. Do you want Hartman as your fourth line center, or do you want Freddie as your fourth line center?
Hartman. Freddie'd be benched if I couldn't trade him, because I'd buy him out. Bottom line, his skills have diminished so bad. I don't know how he's playing hockey.
Now, now I have to go look, because I don't know. See, this is the weird part too. Is you've always got that Rolodex of players that have injuries at the end of the season that just mysteriously get taken care of. Like, turns out Matt Zuccarello was playing with a broken leg. Turns out Marcus Foligno had just debilitating core injuries.
Yeah, he had a muscle there.
I'm just seeing if Freddie Gaudreau had anything. Oh, that's right. It was. Oh wait, no, that was last year. So he had a rib cage injury, but I think that was it. I don't think he had surgery for anything.
I don't think he did.
I don't know. It's so hard to tell. Oh, Glenn's got you on the Philly coach. It was Dave Haxtell.
That's right. Good one.
Good catch, Glenn. Good catch. Trav says Hartman can easily be moved to wing in your mid to bottom six role. He can play as a utility guy. If you suffer an injury, he can slot in wherever.
Yeah, he's very versatile that way. He plays all positions equally well. I like Hartman.
Yeah, Hartman is he just tends to be a hothead sometimes, but I guess I would rather have somebody who runs a little hot than somebody who doesn't run anything. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody who just is kind of flatline out there.
Well, Hartman's showing he cares. He gets pissed.
Yeah.
And that's a good.
Can work with that.
Yeah.
What else do we have here? Wild Crushes asked this, and I just I didn't put it in, but I will now. I have not heard anything.
He's here.
Okay. The question was where Kirill is spending his summer. And Wild Crush says always makes me nervous players going back to Russia, but sounds like he's here. So that's
yeah, he is. Oh, I was going to give you my expectations for the top six for this year. I'll do that now if that's all right.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'm going to start with Kaprizov. This year, you're going to see him score 60 goals if he doesn't get hurt and loses the month or so. He's that good. He's top 5 player in the world.
Yeah.
And we're damn lucky to have him. He's the first superstar the Wild have ever had. And if we didn't have Kaprizov, we'd have the 3rd worst team in the league. That's how bad we are. For Eck, I got him 35 plus. Boldy, I got 40 plus for our front line. And if you look at those numbers, they were averaging 4 points a game when they lined up together. That's a hell of a line. For second line, I got Boldy. I got Rossi with Ogren and Height with 30, 40, and 25. Might be a little big on Height or Ogren at 25 for their first year, but they got a lot of talent. And Ogren likes.
I don't know that it's necessarily going high because I did the math. If Ogren, if he averages, if he gets somewhere around 200 to 230 shots and you take even a 12%, even a 10% shooting percentage on 200 shots, that's 20 goals.
Yep. And then think all the rebounds that Rossi's going to get. Yeah. That's a beautiful thing because we're not trading Rossi. Everybody's dreaming, think we're trading Rossi. It's not happening. Let's see. For the third line, I got Murat, Mojo, and either Ogren or Height. Fourth line, I got Hartman, Foligno, and Freddie Gaudreau. Oh, we got to get rid of him. I'm telling you.
I just want to give Mike a shout out here. He's watching from Tokyo.
Oh, cool. Hi, Mike.
Thanks.
Glad you watched the show.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. All right, what else I got here? I got so damn many notes. Most of it on Mojo. And how bad he was that we already covered. Did I already talk about the seed court sucks buttons?
No.
Well, here's getting back to my days as a kid, going to the North Star games. I couldn't afford tickets, so I had Secord Sucks buttons printed up, and I'd sell them $1 a piece to pay for my ticket to get in the game. And Secord just absolutely killed us. I mean, he was, when he'd get on the ice, everybody in the whole arena, Secord sucks, Secord sucks. I didn't have any problem selling the buttons, believe me. Now, what else I got here? That's pretty much it. Oh, Wallstead. I want to bring this up to everybody because I'm telling you right now, Wallstead is a generational talent. Goalie like him comes around like once every 10 years. You know, he gets a shutout in Chicago, and he gets the win in San Jose with the .931 save percentage. And everybody's saying, well, they're too bad. Well, they still won 43 games. It's very hard to shut out any team in the NHL. And what you're looking at is greatness coming upon Wallstead, because he's phenomenal. His eye to hand, his reflexes, he's very smooth. You don't see him jumping around or anything. He plays the angles well, and he's only going to get better. So you're looking at greatness starting out.
Yeah, that would be to be able to just pencil him in for 8 to 10 as your starting goalie, and just know that you're going to get, 50 plus starts, unless there's an injury. It would be nice to have a spot in the lineup that you can just pencil in and not have to worry about it.
Yep. And also, I think with Spurgeon coming back, our defense is not going to be too shabby this year. With Middleton, Faber, Brodin, Declan, it's not going to be too shabby. A whole lot better than last year.
Yeah.
Now, if we can go ahead.
You should be able to limit to none at all the games. Well, it will be better because we won't have any Merrill Goligoski sightings.
Why Billy signed Goski for 2 years is another mind-boggling.
Yeah, that was my thought on that whole situation was that was essentially a 3-year deal, wink wink nudge nudge, because the Wild they wanted him to take the short contract initially, and then added the 2 after that, which should never have happened.
Never in a million years. I'm glad he got his big goal, the game winner. Remember that? They had the silver, all the good stuff. Couldn't have happened to him because Goski was a hell of a player in his day.
Mm-hmm.
He's old, lost his wheels. That's what happened.
Yeah, and his first year here, until he played too many games and he started to run out of gas,
yep.
he was just fine.
He was a really good number 7 man.
Mm-hmm.
What else was I going to say here? I got 2 pages of notes about Mojo. Well, one thing, I just hope Billy trades Goodrow or buys him out, because he's taken up a spot that we need for the kids. I'm a big fan bringing up the kids, because the way it is with his hardcore 6 Billy boys, we're not in good shape right now. We're old and slow. And that's just the way it is.
Well, and the thing too, yeah, thanks a lot, Billy G. The thing too, and this is one of the most common refrains that I get, is people saying, well, we knew these couple of seasons were going to be tough. And so we shouldn't be surprised that the team has struggled. And yeah, I get that to a point, but it's like, it's one thing to exactly. It's one thing to go through these seasons with this type of a roster and fight and claw and come up short. But you can also give opportunities to the prospects. Give them opportunities to see if they can maybe get you to the next level.
The only way you can find it out is to play him, and Hines won't play him. I don't know. I just don't. I'm so disappointed in Billy. I'm telling you right now, his seat is getting on fire.
Yeah. Billy considers anyone under 30 a kid.
Yeah, I know. You know, and his style of play and the players that he really covets, you know, we got 6 of them and they could all go. Wouldn't hurt us a bit.
Yeah, I made that point the other day too in my rant episode. It's these contracts by themselves mostly fine. But you're also operating under the assumption that you don't have prospects in the system that can come up and replicate the skills that those players bring to the table.
Exactly. And we got some kids who can play down there, you know, like Beckman. I believe he's asking for a trade because for whatever reason, they won't play him.
Yeah.
So I think we see something happen there. And that's too bad because, you know, when he goes somewhere else, he's going to take off. It is what it is. Hines needs to go. Billy and all his boys need to go. Start fresh. Really. Because he's running, you know, if it wasn't for Judd Brackett hitting on his picks, we'd be the worst team in the league. God. But Judd Brackett has really made some nice picks, and we're going to see some fruition this year with Height, Ogren, and, you know, picking up Declan Chisholm for nothing was a masterful deal. I really like that one.
Yeah. I'll throw this out from Jeremy, and I'm going to look at this. I'll look at this in a full episode. Because really the only name in free agency that I have mentioned is one that I just am just so no thank you on. That being David Perron.
Oh, no.
So I'll look at some names in a full episode, Jeremy. I'll pull out three that I think could be intriguing if we had to sign one, other than Jake Gensel. So I'll pick 3 names, and I'll have the episode be if we had to sign somebody, who would I pick?
Well, you know, it all depends on what they get for Gus.
Yep.
Our whole season depends on what they get for him.
Correct.
And because he played so well in the World Championships, his stock went really up. And there's a lot of teams looking for a goalie like Gus. So the bidding war has started. I'm absolutely certain of that. And Billy's good at making deals. That's the only thing he's good at.
Yeah. Mike, don't speak that into existence. He said a 4x4 for Perron is coming with a full no move. Don't speak it into existence.
You know, Perron is a wild killer, but I wouldn't want him on my team.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, I know.
Ooh. Ducks are shopping Zegras. Not sure what the ask is, but if it isn't ridiculous, he's young, talented, and only costs $5 million for the next 2 seasons.
Why are they shopping him? Got to ask yourself that.
It's a good question.
That's because he's not that good. You know, he had that highlight goal, you know, with the stick and putting it in the net. Last year, he was just a very average player. You know, he got a lot of hype when he got in, but he's an average player.
He had, it would help if I actually went to his page. I was going to say, why are they not showing me the stats? But I'm just looking at Anaheim's cap friendly. He had 6 goals, 9 assists, 15 points in 31 games.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
Hey, we could trade Mojo for him.
Well, and this is a good point too. Oh, broken ankle. But this is a good point too, is that Zegras would be an upgrade over about half the roster.
Yeah, he would be. He's young. He's got wheels. You know, in Anaheim, I don't know what the problem is there because they always get top picks, bringing in young players. They just don't ever put it together.
Yeah, they've just
changing they're doing a new, bringing back Anaheim Ducks logo, which would be cool. I like that.
Yeah, they're just spinning their wheels. Like, it seems like they make a little bit of a push and then they just backtrack.
Yeah, well, that's another team that needs a goalie. I wouldn't take Zegras for him, though.
Zegras has the attitude of someone who grew up in Edina. No thanks.
Oh, that's
row.
a good one. That's a really. Oh. So what should we end it with here today? I think it was a pretty good show. Anybody who's watching the show, you got any ideas, something you want to hear about? I'm open for suggestions.
Wild Crush was asking about the Oilers, so we could talk a little Stanley Cup final. I'll pull that one up. Do the Oilers have a shot?
Huh?
You're still picking Edmonton?
Oh, yeah. I picked him way back when LA was the favorite. That's the only team that I picked that made it through. Because I had Carolina.
We got one vote for Edmonton to do it. Let's see it happen.
When you have two of the best players in the world, and those guys have been up and down, they paid their dues. And if Skinner can keep his game together, I just don't see Florida doing it.
Man, we got a couple good ones here. All right, I'll start with Trav. Bring one former Wild player currently still playing back. Who do you get and how do you get them? That's a good question.
That is a good question. I have to think about that for a second. I bring back Granlund for the fourth line. He can
Hoptics has a good one.
Huh.
Cal Clutterbuck.
Yeah, he's still, well, I don't know if he is playing anymore or not. I don't think they renewed his contract. He's old. He was a hell of a player when he was with us. I mean, he was a hit machine. And he was for the Islanders too.
If I was going to pick a former Wild player to add to the roster, I mean, it's got to be Fiala. Oh no, this is the one. This is the one. Gustav Nyquist.
Oh yeah, I'd take him in a heartbeat.
That's the one.
Yeah, I wish we could have kept him.
That's a good call.
Really,
you want me to make you more sad about the Johansson numbers and tell you Gustav Nyquist's regular season?
Go ahead.
23 goals, 52 assists, 75 points.
Yep.
In 81 games played.
Boy, he would be looking good with Rossi, I'll tell you that.
They can, Nashville can have, I don't know. They can have Goudreau. They can have Johansson. They can have Foligno.
6. Or all of them, actually.
Yeah. Just balance the money out that way. And then he had a goal and 3 assists in 6 postseason games too.
Yeah.
Damn, that's eternally the one that got away.
Yeah, he's a good player. I like him. Really a good player.
I
know what I was going to say. I got to ask this before. When I watch a hockey game, what do I look at?
Oh, there you go.
Believe it or not, I don't look at the player with the puck. I look at what the players are doing around them. And that gives you a very good sense of their hockey mentality. When they don't have the puck and you're watching them, what they're doing, that says it all. That shows how smart they are or how stupid they are. And the good players are doing something to create chaos. And the ones that don't, they're just standing around. And so when I watch a hockey game, I'm always looking at what the players are doing without the puck. That's a big deal for me. Because that tells me, especially at the kids, where's your hockey IQ? How do you look at the game? And when they're trying to create chaos, that's a good thing.
Well said. Well said. God, there are a lot of really good ideas for episodes through these comments, and so I am going to,
What?
I might have to give out a star for best comments of the night because Hoptics is just on fire. He says, "Bring back Ryan O'Reilly."
Well, he never played for us. You know that, don't you?
He was here for 2 seconds. Hoptics is on his game tonight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go through this. I'm gonna go through this episode. There are like 30 different good ideas for episodes that I will write down and get to here between now and the draft. We've also got a few more draft profiles coming your way before next week. Hard to believe the draft is already here next week.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, I think with that, oh boy, we had a Greg pattern for which former Wild player would you bring back from Jeremy. So I think that's the check. I think that's the check, please comment.
Hey, can I say something here?
Yes, you can.
What the hell are you smoking?
There it is.
Oh, I had to get it in once today.
That's the official sign off, I think, for this episode. Boy, this was a lot of fun. And we're going to continue doing these. So keep an eye out for when we will have the next live edition of Locked On Wild, a.k.a. What the hell are you smoking? So keep an eye out. Denny, appreciate having you on as always. This is just going to be more and more fun as we go. And glad to get the listeners interacted in during the show too. That was a lot of fun to get the comments and to be able to react to them in real time. So everybody, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to hit that like button as you head out for the night. And for more content like this throughout the week, both live and in episode form, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Wild so you don't miss out on any.
Thanks everybody for watching the show.
Appreciate everybody tuning in. That'll do it for tonight's live show. We'll see you for the next one on our next edition of Locked On Wild.